But before we start cutting the top, let me quickly run through the measurements. We're working with a shoulder of 18 inches. The neck is 17 inches. The armhole is 18 inches. We are working with a 3/4 sleeve. So the sleeve length for the 3/4 sleeve is 16.5 inches. The sleeve round is 15 inches. The chest is 43 inches. And the top length is 33 inches. So now I've folded my fabric into two. As you can see, our top length is 33 inches. So I added 6 inches to that 33 inches, and that gave us 39 inches. This is what we have here. I folded it into two, so we have 39 inches. So I'm going to cut both the front and the back piece together. So now we're working with a chest of 43 inches. That 43 inches, we're going to divide it by 2. So 43 divided by 2, that will give us 21.5 inches. We will need seam allowance on both sides of the senator top. So I usually add 1 inch on this left side and 1 inch on this right side. That will give me a total of 2 inches. So our chest divided by 4 is 21.5 inches. So that 21.5 plus 2 inches, that will give us 23.5 inches. So I'm going to place my tape and measure that 23.5 inches horizontally through the fabric. So I'm going to place my tape here from the top, measure 23.5. I'm going to measure it, then I'm going to mark. I'm going to place it on this other side, measure my 23.5. I'm going to place it, then I'm going to mark my 23.5. I'm still going to measure 23.5. I'm going to place my tape and I'm going to mark. So now I'm going to take my ruler and draw a straight line connecting the markings I did for the chest measurements plus the seam allowance. Draw a straight line and connect all the lines this way like this, and connect my markings here like this. I'm going to cut where I marked this way like this. I'm going to cut it like this. I'm going to come to this other side and cut it off this way like this. I'm going to open up what we've cut this way. Then I'm going to fold this part in like this. Fold the chest area into two like this. Now I'm going to take this side, align this upper part here like this. I'm going to take this lower part and bring it to the top this way like this. This is the front piece and this is the back piece. Now I made the back longer than the front by 3 inches. So now we're going to mark the measurement of the neck. Now the formula I use in cutting the neckline of a cloth is the neck round divided by 4 plus 0.5 inches. That's the neck round divided by 4 plus ½ inch. So we're working with a neck round of 17 inches. So 17 inches divided by 4, that will give me 4¼ inches plus 0.5 inch, which is ½ inch. That will give us 4¾ inches. So I will approximate it to 5 inches. So that 5 inches, we're going to divide it by 2. So that will give us 2.5 inches. So I'm going to place my tape on the fold here. Then I'm going to mark out that 2.5 inches. I'm going to mark it here like this. So this is the marking for the width of the neck. You know, we made the back of the top longer than the front piece by 3 inches. So that 3 inches, when we fold the back to the front this way, what will be left here from that 3 inches will be 1.5 inches. The back piece is going to take 1.5 inches away from the length of the neck. So when I open the back piece this way, then I'm going to leave out that 1.5 inches. It's because that 1.5 inch is going to be taken by the back piece. Then I'm going to place the length of the neck, which is the 5 inches that we got. So I'm going to mark my 5 inches. This is my 5-inch mark. I'm going to take my ruler and draw a straight line from this length that we marked. I'm going to connect it this way, drawing a straight line too. From this position, I'm going to curve it this way, connecting it to the top this way. So now before we cut the neck, I'm going to slant the shoulder of the top. I'm going to first place my shoulder measurement. We're working with a shoulder of 18 inches. I'm going to divide it by 2. 18 inches divided by 2, that will give me 9 inches. I'm going to place my tape at the edge of this fold, place my 9 inches, and then I'm going to mark. I usually slant the shoulder of an adult by 2.5 inches. But if you're making the clothes for somebody that is quite muscular and has a very slanted shoulder, you can slant the shoulder by 3 inches. So I'm going to slant this shoulder by 2.5 inches. Place my tape at the top of the front piece. then I'm going to come down by 2.5 inches, then I'm going to mark. Then I'm going to take my ruler and connect this neck position to this 2.5 inches that we marked here in a slanted line, and make sure I align it to this slant that we made here. Then I'm going to connect it to this line here in a slanted line this way like this. I'm going to cut off the neckline following the curve that I made here this way like this. Connect it this way like this. Then I'm going to slant the shoulder following the mark that I made on the front piece this way like this. So this is what we have here. As you can see, we're going to slant the back piece and we're going to cut out the neckline for the back piece. I'm going to take my tape and place it at the edge of this front piece that was slanted. Then I'm going to go up by 3 inches and come up by 3 inches and mark. On this middle part, I'm still going to place my tape and mark 3 inches. I'm still going to place my tape and mark out my 3 inches. Connect all the markings I made here like this. I'm going to slant the back piece just the way I slanted the front piece. So now I'm going to take the back piece and fold it to the front piece this way, overlapping the front piece by just ½ inch. So this is the area where it connects to the back piece. So I'm going to mark this area this way like this, and just mark this area where I marked this way like this on the back piece this way. Then I'm going to open it this side up this way like this. Then on this front neck area, I'm going to come up by 1.5 inches this way like this and mark it. So this is the area where we'll now connect from here, then connect it to this area that we cut here. Connect this part this way like this. So from here, I'm going to curve it this way like this and connect. I'm going to cut the back neck. Curve it this way. So when I take the neck and I overlap the front piece with the back piece this way, the shape of the neck came out very well. Now we're going to place our shoulder measurement. Our shoulder is 18 inches. 18 divided by 2, that will give us 9 inches. So I'm going to mark my 9 inches here this way. Then I'm going to add ½ inch allowance because we're going to be joining the shoulder with the sleeve of the top. I'm going to add ½ inch allowance to it. So this is a ½ inch allowance. So now from this shoulder area, we're going to mark our armhole measurement. Now we're working with an armhole of 18 inches. So 18 inches divided by 2, that will give us 9 inches. So I'm going to place my tape from this shoulder position, go down by 9 inches and then mark. I'm going to connect this shoulder position to this 9-inch mark in a straight line and connect it this way to this 9-inch mark here. Then from this position, I'm going to curve it like this. We need to take some excess fabric from this chest area, midpoint from this mark that we did. You're going to go in by ½ inch, place my ½ inch mark here. From this shoulder position, connect it to this ½ inch mark. Then with a curve, connect it to this lower area. I'm going to curve it slightly in this way like this to this ½ inch mark. I'm going to curve it out this way to this position here like this with a curve. See, I'm going to cut it. Take note, I'm cutting both the front and the back armhole. So I'm going to curve it this way like this, connect it this way and cut it out. I'm still going to curve in the armhole, but this time I'll curve only the front armhole because the back armhole needs more room, because when you move your hand around, it requires more fabric at the back part of your top than the front part. So I'm going to place my tape midpoint around the armhole here, and I'm going to go in by 1 inch. So now I've gone in by 1 inch. So from this shoulder position, I'm still going to curve it in this way, connecting it to my 1 inch mark this way. Then from this position, I'm going to curve it out like this till I get to this other part here like this. I'm curving only the front armhole. You're just going to take 2 pieces of the front piece this way and leave out this back piece and curve it in like this. So I'm just curving only the front armhole piece this way like this. So that's how I'm going to curve it in this way. This is what we have here. Before we cut out the sleeve, I'm going to place my tape at the top of the shoulder area here and measure the armhole curve this way like this. Let's see what we have. So what we have here is 12 inches. So we're going to need this 12 inches when we're cutting the sleeve of the top. Now on this lower area, I'm going to divide the front and the back piece. I'm going to divide it this way like this. Now to cut the yoke of the top, you get the piece of the fabric and you fold it into 2 like this. Then you get the back part of the top, fold it into 2 and align it this way. Then you take your scissors and cut to the neck of the back piece You come to this part and you follow the curve here too, like this. Then from this part, you curve it in like this, following the curve of the back piece. You come down slightly like this. Then you're going to raise the back piece off this way like this. Then from this position, you're going to cut off this part like this. This is what we'll use to turn the shoulder of the front and the back piece. So now we're going to cut the sleeve. I'm going to cut the two sleeves at the same time. I folded the fabric into two this way. Then I folded it into four like this. So now that measurement of the armhole that we took, we used it when we were folding the sleeve. You know, when we measured that armhole, we got 12 inches. So now when I was folding the sleeves, I took out 1 inch from that 12 inches that we got when we measured the armhole. So now when I was folding the sleeve, I folded it by 11 inches. So now when we cut out the curve of the sleeve, it's going to give us that 12 inches. So now to cut the sleeves, we're going to determine the cap height. So to determine the cap height, I divide the armhole measurement by 4. 18 inches divided by 4, that will give us 4.5 inches. I'm going to mark 4.5 inches here. So I'm going to place my ruler this way like this. So from the top, I'm going to connect it with a slanted line all the way to the cap height position that we marked. So now from this midpoint, I'm going to go out by ½ inch. From the top position, I'm going to come down by about 1.5 inch around here. Then from this position, I'm going to take it with a curve and connect it to this marking that we did here around the midpoint. Then from here, I'm going to curve it this way like this, curve it and connect it to this sleeve cap height position here. So now I'm going to cut both sleeves following this curve or this marking that I made here this way like this and connect. So from this position here, I'm going to go in by about ½ inch. Then from this midpoint here, I'm going to curve this part a little bit deeper, curve it this way as you can see, and I'm going to pick just the front piece and curve it this way following the marking that I did. I'm going to curve it this way like this till I get to this part here like this. So now we're going to place our measurements. This is a 3/4 sleeve. We're working with a sleeve round of 15 inches. So 15 inches divided by 2, that will give me 7.5 inches. So I'm going to place my 7.5 inches here. I'm going to add about 1 inch of allowance. That will give me 8.5 inches. Then I'm going to mark it around here. I'm going to go straight, curve it this way like this, and connect it to this position here. I'm going to cut it this way, bring it to that position here like this. So this is what we have here. So from this position, I'm going to mark F, that's front, and I'm still going to mark F here like this. So that's to indicate that this part of the sleeve is going to the front armhole, while this other part here is going to the back armhole.